So the topic of business comes up a lot. As a business owner, I try to be very forthcoming in public. That's part of the reason I have this YouTube channel and Facebook. I try to share my experiences and help others. So I do get a lot of questions and emails and comments from people saying, hey, how do I start a business? And sometimes, I type out some stuff and I said, I just need to do a video on this because I'm less willing to type something really long, easy to send a video. That way I can have an easier response, as I like the question. I like helping people out and I want to, make it as easy as possible to do so. So first thing is about starting a business. I hate my job is not a business plan. I hate the person I work for. Still not a business plan. That's something I try to get through to people. I don't remember where I first heard that I hate my boss is not a business plan. I'm not sure who first said it. I've repeated it many times, and I love it as a phrase. It's not the reason you should ever start a business because you just don't like the way you work. The idea of starting a business is that you have a different angle, a different idea on how you want to do a process, or maybe invent a new process, and there's a market and demand for it. So it's really interesting being an entrepreneur because you stop and think about that as a vision, going, hey, do I have this idea? Is it better than the other person's idea, or is there a market for this? And I know I've seen some statistics on this, and so many of these businesses, especially the tech ones, they fail because there's no market demand for their idea. So that's the first thing. Is there a demand for your idea? The second thing is, are you just going to go, hey, they charge $100 and I'm going to charge $99 and that's a reason to switch? As a business owner myself and as someone who has to make decisions on things, price is a piece of the factor. Quality means a lot more to me. Convenience, there's a lot of other things that go into it. It's not just, hey, they're $1 less, I'm going over there, or they're $5 less, I'm going over here. And a lot of people look at that and they say, I'm going to start a business because they charge too much. There's a lot that goes into those charges, and maybe they are too high, maybe they're not. But if you don't have it, if you want to do everything the exact same way as someone else, but for less money, stop and think about that for a second. You're going to work for less money. That's your business model. I'm just going to work hard for less money than the other guy doing it. Not the best way to start off a business. One of the things we focused on, even with my company, is coming up with more innovative and effective ways to implement things. That makes a bigger difference to the bottom line. I can underbid because we're doing things differently. So my bid may come in less for a job because we're doing the process differently. That's the better concept. So I worked in corporate for a while, and I've actually had my business since 2003, and so that makes it just about 14 years now. And I've learned a lot over that. The first assumption is I'm really good at tech, therefore people will just use me for my incredible skills in technology. Doesn't work that way at all. It's really hard getting out there and networking with people. So we'll start with the basics and then I'll kind of roll into some of the details. So the first basic is have a plan, have it put together, and have something get there. And don't base it on price. Matter of fact, I am higher than some of my competitors on price. It's not about the price. Get that out of your head first. It's about providing quality of service to a client and providing value to them and making sure they understand that value, which is more of a sales thing. Now, setting up the structure, that varies from state to state, country to country. Here in the U.S., here in Michigan, I'm set up as a standard S Corp. That was the most advantageous to me. How do I know that? I contacted an accountant and we discussed what I'm doing, and that's how we come up with that. So first step is find a knowledgeable accountant or business attorney to set up your structure. Make sure you set it up well. There's also plenty of reading you can do to understand how some of this works. So go do some reading, and so you at least have a basic understanding of what is a balance sheet, what is a P&L statement, some of your basic financial statements, and then understand expenses and write-offs and how you track all that. Also, track all of it really, really well. That's important. If you're not organized, you're going to find yourself in a lot of problems, especially with that. You can also outsource that. There's a lot of full-service accounting firms, and I've met some IT guys who go, hey, I'm bad with some of this detail work, so they use a full-service accounting, which means they don't do their books at all. They literally just bring everything to an accountant on a weekly, monthly basis, and for a fee, you can have an accounting service completely take care of all of it for you. I've even seen some people outsource their invoicing to an accountant, which is a little extreme to me, but you can, where you just focus on the work, you have them send the billing and everything. That's going to vary. Do some research, ask some friends, and kind of get that up. So getting your business structure set up, getting the accounting right from the beginning will save you a lot at the end. Because I've seen some people, they start making money doing a thing, but they never really did the accounting, and they find themselves, by the time they go, man, this business seems to be going really well. I've got all these customers and all this stuff. I better see what my tax ramifications are. And they find out they owe a ton of money because they didn't file or structure anything right. Do it ahead of time. There's a little expense attached to it. They're not going to do it for free, but completely worth it. So you start out on an organized base. And when you start looking at business as a concept, whether you're running it yourself or you have employees, it's so much just organizing things and putting processes in place and then implementing that solution to a client. So once you got to start with that big overview, then you can start working on the details. So I started out doing solo for a long time because it was easier. I just simply hired contractors, because contractors, you kind of pay them as needed, or you work, so to speak, as a project management. Now, this is really focused on IT, as that's where my experience lies. It does apply to some other businesses, as I do know some. I know an ad agency, a friend of mine owns, who does really, really well, and he has 0 employees, but he has a really, really good job doing this, or business doing this, because he just knows all his secret sauce is all the contacts. So he pitches to get something done, and he knows all the players to coordinate to make the thing happen for the client. And I do a lot of that in IT, even though I have a staff right now. And while I plan to keep adding more to them, even when I didn't have a staff, it's all about coordinating and having that Rolodex. Now, how do you meet all these people? That's important. Being real friendly in the industry. I regret not starting YouTube sooner, reaching out sooner, but I've been going to everything from conferences to meetups to any event. We have a couple local ones here. We have like these IT and D events. I've been to plenty of hacker conferences in the area, Linux conferences. I'm always networking and reaching out to other technicians. I know a lot of people. So it makes it really easy for me to say, when someone says, hey, I need someone who does this or this, and if it's outside of what I do, no problem. I have a guy. I know people that even work directly at the Linux Foundation. So having all these contacts, really important. Now, when you're starting out, really hard. You're going to have to go hit all these events and go to all these events and start networking with people. If you live in solitude behind the screen and just don't communicate, even if you do, if you're good at online communication, great. But if you don't really network with people, whether physically or virtually, you're going to have a really hard time with this. That's going to be one of your hang-ups on there. Now, what groups you would belong to is going to vary a lot to meet all these people. In the tech industry, search Linux users group, computers users group. There's pretty much everywhere in the U.S. you're going to find something on there. You can go on Meetup and just start going to these. Also, go to some of the entrepreneurial meetups. That's helpful too, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, and a lot of us are like me. They want to help you. If you are putting effort into something, I'm willing to help you as well. I've consulted with several friends. I've helped several friends launch companies. You'll find a lot of us, one, we like talking about our business. Ask us questions. We're like, hey, you're interested in me, therefore I like to talk about myself. It sounds vain, but it really is. People generally do that. If they're into business, they're often willing to share with you how they started their business, how they got started, how they did this or came up with this idea. And that's an important aspect when it comes to the networking, is discussing with them. Now, hiring staff is difficult. I won't lie. I've made mistakes. I'm going to make more mistakes. There is no secret sauce to, you just hired like this and this is some process. Read a lot of books on it. I can probably link to a book list I've done, but I don't know that there's one secret sauce type book. I remember reading recently Disrupt You, I thought was good. I read Elon Musk's book. I've read Richard Branson's books. I've read several of his, and none of them have any secret sauce. A lot of them are just get out there and do it is part of what it takes. And the other part is you're going to make mistakes, accept them. The term goes fail fast. I like that. Fail fast, move on. I've had employees I've had to fire. That's life. They decided to make some poor choices. I have to stick to my guns and say, look, this is the rules here at this company. You follow these rules or you cannot work here. That's happened. People didn't follow the rules. They didn't deliver on projects, or they created drama for me. That's a risk. And that's something I had to deal with. Other time people leave, they move on. That's something you have to deal with as well. Please, one of the things I can advise you is don't let any one person hold your company hostage. I see a lot of that where people build up like, I'm the most valuable employee here. And I've seen that when I worked in corporate. Some people thought they were the key employee to make the entire company work. That's mistakes when you let employees kind of do too much, then they do kind of own your business. So do keep an eye on everything that's going on. I can advise you that. finding the right people, one, really hard, two, really, really important. It's a double-edged sword. It's one of the hardest things to do, and it's also one of the most risky things. So there's a lot of risk in trusting people, but you do it. If you don't do it, someone else will, and not everyone wants to run a business. Some people like to have a paycheck, and that's what they want to do. That's great, and you find the right people where you can find that balance where they're motivated to work and willing to work for a paycheck, and those are the people you hire. There's not, like I said, any secret sauce. Everyone's always looking for what's your secret. I hear that all the time, and I think when you catch people off the cuff, they just make something up. What's your secret? So much of it's a little bit of luck, and a lot of people may not want to admit it, but there's a series of happenstance and luck. Now, you have to be prepared for luck to happen. You have to be going to all these events, networking with all these people, putting all these videos like I am right now on YouTube. There's like all these things you go out there, and maybe they do, or maybe they won't turn into anything. You know, people said, oh, you're lucky with your podcast, it's doing this. I'm like, we didn't get a call from a big company like Microsoft to fly us out to do an interview until after we had spent a couple of years doing the podcast, producing hundreds of episodes. And then by chance, a listener said, hey, I think you guys would be great to talk to these people at Microsoft, and connected us. And next thing you know, we're flying out to Seattle and interviewing executives about stuff with Microsoft on a Linux podcast. Very interesting opportunity. I didn't start the podcast, Tony did, and he put a lot of effort into it. And then I joined him, and we all put a lot of effort into it. But we put effort into it not with like this goal that someone's going to call us. We just put our hearts into it. And that's so important about business. You don't know if those opportunities are come up. Now, if those opportunities come up, you have to be prepared for that luck. And I think that's something a lot of people kind of miss, is the luck that is involved, or people just want to say, I'm a self-made man, I'm a self-made business person, and luck didn't, it was all hard work. It's not. I'm going to be honest, and a little humility here. You have to be prepared, so when an opportunity comes up, that you take advantage of it. There's no sure way to get these opportunities to come up. But I do know, if you do nothing, there's no chance of you having an opportunity. Sitting on the couch, probably not going to happen. Sitting on watching TV all day going, man, you know, the person's successful. I wonder what their secret is. It's just getting out there and then doing something. If you have a deliverable to a client, if you say, I'm going to install this network, you know, things that we do, you have to actually do the work and deliver. That's something that maybe people gloss over a little bit. It's not just about out there handshaking and making deals. You have to deliver on whatever the promises you made for service and create that value for the client. Now, the other aspect that a lot of people have trouble with is the sales. And I still, after 14 years in business, it's still not easy. Literally, I've gone door to door to door. I've sent out just an absolute ton of cold emails to businesses. Hey, I'm in the area. I do IT services, things like that. You have to be able to face rejection. You have to be able to send out 200 emails and get maybe one reply that says no thank you. The rest of them just don't care and deleted it. That's life. That's business. It's knocking on doors. Matter of fact, some places, because they know knocking on doors works, they have banned knocking on doors in our area, which I think is kind of funny. But going to these events, hey, I'm Tom. I do computer services. How can I help you? Or start out with, what is your business? Ask them that question. Start thinking of ways you can help them, provide a solution for them. There is no easy way around it. There's no secret sauce. Now, if you're building a app and the app has value, you know, we look at the unicorns like Snapchat or Facebook and some of those companies. And I say unicorns because there is a lot of hard work that went in there, but they also took off and they work at scale. Those are different because those are not in-person type companies. So if you're in that category of company where you're trying to build an app and the app catches on, you know, and games are like that too. You see a game like Minecraft and it just does amazingly well. It's a well-written game. It's like this cool, innovative idea, and it turns into this massive phenomenon, and a programmer did very, very well with it. Those are probably exceptions to the knocking on door. I'm specifically referring to service-based companies, which is my category. You have to get out there, and that's one of the hardest parts. Now, bidding. Once you get the jobs, you have to think about this before you go out there and do a sales call. Come up with some type of pricing structure and understand that. There's no easy secret sauce for that. People ask, how much do you charge? I'm like, one, completely irrelevant because it's determined by the market and area you're in. It's just like a housing price. My house, if you move it from different areas around the United States, the price would be substantially more or substantially less depending on location. That same thing goes with service industries. There's buildings here right where I am in just south of Detroit. Buildings are inexpensive, so my overhead is less. The cost of living is substantially lower here in my city. Therefore, the overall cost of services goes down a little bit. When you're in California, for example, when you're talking about just renting a house, a small place for $3,000 a month, with that level of cost of living plus the expense of everything else around you, you have to pay someone a whole lot more. And in turn, your services cost a lot more. So there's not anything I can really guide you with on pricing. It's kind of like learn market pricing for the industry you're in. Call around. There's no easy way, but do calculate that you're going to make money on whatever it is you're bidding. Don't bid just to get the job. That just goes downhill fast. Don't underbid clients. I see people all the time. I'm going to charge a lot. I'm going to charge very little right now, and I'm going to raise rates later. No, you're not. That's going to not do well for you. I see a lot of people doing that. They just try to get the company by underbidding everything, and then when you try to raise rates, the company's kind of and also you have the perception of you're just doing everything really cheap. You're going to get the cheap customers who just expect everything to be cheap all the time. And you're doing a disservice to your clients. If you can't provide quality of service to them because you didn't charge them enough, you're in a lot of trouble because you're not doing a quality service because you can't, because the customer says my budget's like next to nothing, so I'm just going to provide you as little service as I can. And I see so many technicians get caught up in this, and we take over a lot of IT contracts because the previous IT guy, very unresponsive, was the first problem. They couldn't provide the services they said. And one of them, I met the guy, he's a super nice guy, but he's providing services for less than half of me. But people are really gotten fed up with a lot of it because he said, he's just not responsive anymore. And I'm like, hey, he can't be. He tried to get everyone as a customer and tried to give them really good rates, which got him really busy, but then he can't be responsive to the clients, and he can't afford to pay anyone, by the way. And it's like when you say a rate of 120 or 130 an hour, people think, oh, you're making 130 an hour. No, there's a lot of things around me that 130 hour, all that ticks away at it. So you have to charge a rate that just doesn't make you money. It has to make the business money to pay for all the expenses of the business and pay payroll and pay for licenses and insurance and all the little things that you need to have a business. There's a lot of structure that comes with it. Now, that being said, it's not impossible, but it is a daunting task. So you have to have a passion for this. You have to be focused and dedicated, and those are probably your biggest things. Your biggest asset is your focus and dedication. You have to be willing to show up early, stay late, do whatever it takes to make the things work. Now, some people figure it out really quickly. I've met some business owners that kind of blow me away. And this one guy I know, he always amazes me because he's able to run so many companies, and he only puts a couple hours a day in each one. He's just really, really good with, this is what I figured out after knowing him for almost 10 years, putting all the right people in place to run his company. The guy has like a gift for finding people and putting them in place. He owns across different industries. He owns different companies from plumbing to automotive, and the guy can't change a tire, and he doesn't know exactly the idea where oil goes in the car. But a lot of it is his concept of putting all the right people in places, and that's such an important aspect of it. So it's not like, I say you have to work hard. You have to either put the right people in place or be the right person yourself to do there. And you have to spend a lot of time thinking about how to innovate the company further. So I set up a lot of structure and a lot of things for my employees, and that's an important thing. So they have a job description somewhat. We keep that loose here. But there's tasks, there's organization, there's the things they have to do, there's an order to things, there's processes and procedures of how we take care of clients. Those, as a business owner, are really important to have in place so everyone follows those procedures. And that is something you need to at least spend part of your time focusing on. Now, I'm not the external business owner like the other guy I had mentioned. I really love the hands-on approaches. I'm a complete geek at heart, so I love being hands on the keyboard doing some of this, which is also why I outsourced my sales and hired Marvin for that. And it's about putting someone in place because he's got to go out there and close the deals. And that's the paperwork is my really weak point. It's not that I don't have papers on my desk because I cleaned them for this. I don't ever want papers on my desk because I don't like dealing with paperwork and stuff like that. So when we bid a job, there's sometimes insurance coverage we have to have and lots of small logistical things. Now that I have grown my business enough, I've outsourced that. I delegate that to other people. And that's an important aspect of finding some of those things that you can delegate out so you don't have to do them all yourself. So starting a business, like I said, it's not easy. It's not just about hard work. It's so much about getting out there, being known, just be at every event. For us, it's like a Chamber of Commerce and business associations and meetups. And then for people I met for hiring, go to tech meetups, meet these people, meet them in person, find interesting people. There's plenty of ways to connect with people. Not one of them is better than the other, but I say all of them is the approach. It depends on your industry, but if you can be at every event, it's hard. That's where a lot of the hard work comes in, is doing that. But it's where I met so many of the people. Some of my staff, they're random people. I went to the college and met some of the people. I went through some interns. That's another place you can find people. So I'm kind of done rambling for now. I didn't want to get too far off topic, but I wanted to make this video as a response to the question that comes up a lot about starting a business. It's a little different than you think, but it's worth it to me. I love the freedom it gives me. I love that I can just come up with different ideas and implement them and servicing a client. So I really enjoy it, but it's not for everyone. So if you're not willing to do this, or you say, you know what, I'm antisocial, I just want to sit behind a keyboard and just do things that people give me to do, probably running a business isn't for you. You may just not like where you work. Go get another job. I'm sorry that maybe business isn't your thing. But if it is your thing, it's rewarding, it's fun, it's exciting. I love doing it, even though I'm here super early like I am now to do videos before anyone else comes in. But that's my passion, and I'm really happy doing it. So hopefully this helps. If you have more questions, I'd love to answer them. I thought about doing maybe some more Q&A videos. Send me stuff, tweet me stuff. I'm easy to get a hold of, tom@lawrencesystems.com. I'm going to start including my email in the description of the YouTube videos. I don't mind people reaching out to me and ask me questions on this. I'm excited when I've helped people, when I helped my friend go through an entire launching his company, building it, and then ultimately selling it. That was his goal. He sold his business and went back to working a job, but he's happy. He was happy the whole process. He had a lot of fun doing it, and he loved what he did, and his end game was to sell it. So like I said, I'm willing to help people out as much as I can. I try to respond to all the emails. I respond to the majority of people, at least even if it's not the complete answer. I have a few people that have sent me some longer ones, but I'm going to reply with this video to some of the business question ones and go through them. But feel free to reach out to me, and hopefully this video was helpful to you. If you like the content here, like and subscribe. If you want me to do more videos like this, I maybe have a whole category just for business stuff and maybe do some business Q&A things. I'm very open about how we do all this. There's not, like I said, no, I don't really want to hold any secrets. I like to help people out, and it's, I didn't really find a guide like this because I started my business before YouTube started theirs. So I'm trying to be very open and transparent how we do a lot of the things we do, so it hopefully can help you start your business and be successful. All right, thanks for watching. Like the content here, like and subscribe.